Morning to everyone. This is the power of healing with Utabi, Ungowekhethelo, umzilikazi kaMashobana. Ngingukhanya, ngingunompilo, iqhole ntwasahlobo. Inkosazana yelanga nenyanga, inkanyezi yamakhosi komntungwa, ungowekhethelo, dadebawo. Why should I forget that one? So, before I start with my topic for today, guys, I just want to warn you. If you send me consultation inquiries, or if you send me a WhatsApp through the 061 number that I gave to you, and you get an automatic reply, né? The first automatic reply, which is a greeting, that's fine. In the second automatic reply that you're going to get when you ask for AMA consultation fees, please note there's going to be a code or a reference number or a reference code just to verify ukuthi yimi ne, because there's a lot of chances out there. I got the message the other day, so this person copied every information, actually copied all my information. So yeah, in case there's fraudsters out there, there's scammers out there, guys, we need to be careful. So every day the code will change. The code will change every day, guys. So if please read the information that I sent to you, because the code will change, né? So the second automatic reply that gives you information on how to set a booking will have a code or a reference, né? I do not give out banking details, guys. So when you see information regarding a certain banking account number or a certain bank account number, it's not mine. Anginikezani ngama-banking details mina in public. If you see a poster that says my consultation is 200 rands or 250 or whatever, I will not publish that. So it's not me. Noma ngabe nobuso bami, guys, futhi do yourself a favor. Just verify, maybe through ask Gogo, can you please maybe just send me a voice note nyana, ne? So that you link my voice maybe to that. But also, guys, I do not give out banking details. No matter how much they charge you, guys, please verify it with me. How do we verify? I'm going to give you, as I said, there will be a code every day, and the code will change every day as well. So ngicela verify, because there's a lot of scammers out there already. This person, like, people will make posters and bafaka ubuso bakho bafaka, it's not me. I will not post certain things on in public. Also, so yeah, I was about to say, before siyeka abantu aba-evil abaphilela nje ukwenza izinto ezirong ebantwini. I think I have a supervisor, because every time I say to you guys, hey yazini, I'm taking a break, or I'm done for the season. The last week I was saying I'm done for a season, I'll get a break, it's my birthday month. I think I have somebody who's a supervisor and who's always going back to my guidance saying, umntaneni uthi uthatha break, and then they'll have a laughter about it. Bazohlala etafuleni bathi ubani ke manje lo, and like, well, uthabile, oh loyo, bese bayahleka, because every time I plan to take a break, like, I have to work. I can say no, I'm off season, because I thought after this particular time, I'll be off season next month, and I think they were looking at me and be like, we're not off season, that's good. So yeah, as I said, when duty calls anytime, any day. So it's like they laugh at me whenever I say that. So angiyangphinde ngikusho lokho ukuthi I'm taking a break, because whoa, All right. Yeah, so okay, going back to today's topic, um, about chronic illnesses and spirituality. Uh, yeah, guys, I was privileged that during my years of self training, I also studied, or I got to study a psychology, ne? Because a lot of people don't know that um, spirituality is actually associated to psychology and emotional well-being. And I think we are in an era where we need abantu who also have studied certain things, or we need wisdom more than anything in addressing certain issues. So as I say, I think I was blessed. As painful as the journey was, it also came with a lot of privileges, ne? Because I got to understand umuntu through different angles, or from different angles. Yeah. So I haven't completed my qualification yet, but one thing's okay, because I didn't want my journey to just be spiritual in terms of umsebenzi wabantu abadala, but I wanted to heal deeper than that and address things in a more, with shamanism, guys. That's why a lot of times, um, or that's why shamans were professional um, medics, or yeah, health medics. They were doctors. They were long ago, and I did explain this because in healing with shamanism, there's certain things that you have to understand and identify emuntwini. So I think I was the journey that took me to through education as well, because it's not a waste. Whatever that you've learned and acquired is actually not a waste, but a lesson. And you had to be trained on that so that uzokwazi uku-understand izinto ey'ningi. Uzokwazi uku-understand izinto eziningi. So I'm grateful for that opportunity, or for that wisdom also, to get to know umuntu better. Do you understand? Because healing, guys, comes in different forms. So yeah, uh, I'm going to talk about chronic illnesses, ne? And spirituality. And there are people who are suffering from cancer. There are people who are suffering from HIV. There are people who are suffering from spine problems. A lot of chronic illnesses. And in most cases, those people are spiritually gifted. Ne? So, uh, goodness, there is one thing that we call a dark night of the soul. And we need to understand what a dark night of a soul is. But before I get to that, let me start here. Hey, I'm morning today. By the way, I woke up 4 just to prepare. No break for me. Yeah. So guys, we need to understand that illness disrupts identity. Mawugula, your identity fades away, right? But we don't often talk about specific ways, right, that illness affects spiritual identity. A lot of times we speak about, yeah, spiritual people being sick, but how it affects your spiritual identity, we don't talk about it. It is not always, guys, that we have to blame without understanding, because a lot of times you get healers saying, yeah, ugula ngoba fanele uyothwasa, or ugula because amadlozi or amathonga akwatile or alwa nawe. It's not always the case. It's not always the case. So hence I'm saying illness disrupts identity. Ne? Uh, illness destroys a person's self, a person's self and world. It destroys you. It destroys your surrounding. We do not retain our fundamental identity when we experience pain. We cease to exist. So the fundamental identity of a person fades away or ceases to exist when you are experiencing pain, when you are sick. Ne? Rather, we endure as we become strangers to ourselves. Okay. Rather we undone as we become strangers to ourselves. So the rapture of self, ne? What we were sure of becomes unreachable, and we wonder if what we thought we knew is even true. So in rapture of self is when everything that you thought you knew, everything that made sense to you does not make sense anymore. Erupture of self, so of self, or erupture of yourself or your spiritual identity uh tends to land, to cease to exist, because everything that I thought I knew about myself is unreachable. Or sometimes you get that you feel like health is unreachable. Uyagula, guys, you've got a chronic illness that requires you to seek, requires you to attend ama treatments every month, requires you to take medication every day, requires you to take injections every day. You are sick. So therefore, whoever that you are and the person that's living inside, uyafa, you lose your spiritual identity. Okay? And those are the things that we need to talk about. Not pinpoint of fingers and saying, well, amadlozi akwatile because you're sick, you're staying in bed, because you're taking injections, because you're going through mental frustrations, you're going through mental illnesses, you're going through depression. And in most cases, when it comes to your mental state, it's depression. Okay? So we are undone because we become strangers to ourselves. Yeah? Yo, I just had that angazi nje, a sort of like a trance for a minute. Yeah. The existence crisis created by the illness experience. So the existence crisis, a lot of people don't understand that it is a crisis. When you lose your spiritual identity, it is a crisis that is caused by the illness experience. Therefore, the dark night of the soul hits us spiritually if we are if we once felt like um if you once felt like you are created by God, and you cared, or you felt like you are cared for by God and ancestral spirits. So the dark night of the soul hits you when you have that belief that you are cared for by God and by your ancestral spirits. So therefore, it overshadows that belief, right? And we feel abandoned, because when you feel like, ngiyagula, like I'm sick every day, I have to take this, I have to take that, you feel abandoned by God, you feel abandoned by your ancestors, you feel abandoned by your spirit guide. And yet, because also we have to understand that we think that, I mean, I'm spiritually gifted, so I must be this unique person from uh whose purpose is to live and deliver something. So now why am I sick? Or whose purpose is to live and heal others or help others. But in my space of helping others, I got sick. I'm still sick. I care for others. I've got kindness. I'm selfless. Uh, but then ngiyagula. Why? So you feel abandoned, of course. Um, so sometimes you feel like people with other people, that if nature used to give you that sense of solace, you now become like, or you feel unmoved by it. So other people like had that connection with nature, that connection with God. You somehow feel unmoved by those things. Ne? Relationships that made us feel connected to something larger than ourselves, we may feel like isolated from the very people who once meant so much to us. So the very same people who meant who you felt connected to, and being this person who meant more to life, who meant more to people, you feel isolated from them. You feel like, I mean nothing. I mean, I'm always sick, so now I am a burden to abantu. And it should not be like that. So at some point, you feel like nothing. You feel like you are worth nothing, and utterly you feel alone. You get to this the space of loneliness. We do not have, guys, a magic bullet to heal, right? We do not have the magic bullet to heal the aloneness of spiritual crisis. But we do have the ability to try to understand the crisis, and thereby deepen our knowledge of self. We don't have a bullet to heal uh, the spiritual crisis of being ill, but we do have the ability to try and understand the crisis and deepen our knowledge of who we are. At the end of the day, who are you? You are sick, yes, you've got this chronic illness, you're taking medication, but at the end of the day, who are you? We speak a lot about guys, about being isolated from the world in spirituality, but do we really understand at what extent does it go to? And that is the question that we should be asking ourselves. Okay. Yeah, so I think I need to go back, guys, and all right. So there I was speaking about Lapayana. I was speaking about the dark night of a soul, right? I was trying to explain the dark night of a soul. Um, but I just want to go back here and say, you know, for us, what does the dark Oh, okay. Before the dark side, dark night of the soul. Those of us who live with an illness, ne, we often struggle to be seen, um, and sometimes even to see ourselves as more than just a disease, as more than just a disease. We are not only our bodies, guys. We always struggle to see ourselves beyond the disease, beyond the illness, beyond the treatments. But in total essence, we are not just bodies. We are physical selves. Sorry, we are physical selves. We are emotional selves. We are mental selves and social selves as well. But mostly, we are spiritual selves. And that is what we need to understand. I'm going to go back to how to go about overcoming the spiritual crisis. But now I need us to think about this. We are spiritual selves. And one of the authors who wrote about spirituality, Rogers and Hatala, in 2017 said spirituality is defined as a dimension of beings that gives life meaning through through a personal quest for understanding the ultimate question about life and about relationships with a sacred transcendent. We come from a dimension of beings that gives life meaning. That is what spirituality is all about. That is what spiritual gifted is all about. We give meaning through personal quests for understanding ultimate questions about life. That is why we are given the gift to see beyond what others see. We reason beyond what others reason. We When we say we use mostly our third eye, that third eye comes from a specific dimension. Okay, so our uh, spiritual questions involve. Oh, okay, sorry. Okay, understanding the ultimate questions, right, about life. Now, that question will involve meaning and purpose of our lives. We understand that question, meaning and purpose of our lives, ne? Our place in the universe, and the existence of a higher power. That is what spirituality is all about. Understanding those questions about the higher power, about the universe, and our place and role in the universe. We address spiritual questions through different ways. Some practice, religion, um, and maintain a relationship through higher power. Others transcend in nature and music, meditation, and sometimes others locate, guys, sacred, sacred through family and friends. Some people find purpose in family and friends. Some in nature, some in music, some in meditation, some in art, some in the higher power of God and spiritual or ancestral spirits. Right? So we address spiritual questions differently. Right? Our journey as spiritual people take many take many turns, guys. It takes many turns. Um, the and like it takes many turns over the course of life as our search for meaning is ongoing and changing. You see, our search for meaning in life, for purpose, it's ongoing, guys, and changes all the time. But what we have been called, some of us, to do, we have been called to do. Um, the journey, mawusaphila umuntu, the spiritual journey does not end, and that's what we mean. So now, this is where I spoke about how illness disrupts identity. I'm not going to go back into that. No, sorry. Let me just see now. Ish. Yeah. So that's where we need to understand that the dark night will always play a role, because the journey of a spiritual gifted is not supposed to be smooth. So why then would you not be tested with sickness? To your ability to heal yourself or to take yourself out of a spiritual crisis means says a lot about you. Says a lot about your spiritual strength, because then it is no point in being given a gift to help others when you cannot help yourself. There is no point in being given a gift of healing if you cannot heal yourself. You may not heal yourself, guys, physically, because you are not only a body. But once you gain strength in healing the spiritual being, then you are fine. As I said, we do not have a magic bullet to heal aloneness of a spiritual crisis. We don't have a bullet to heal that. Right? Now let's talk about a spiritual crisis. Let's talk about the spiritual crisis now. So what is overwhelming about a spiritual crisis, guys, is that words fail to say, or we often have, okay, we feel overwhelmed in saying what we need to say. We attempt to uh, move away from what we are feeling through distraction and numbing. So instead of expressing how you are feeling to people, you become numb and you distract yourself by doing other things, which in essence will now weaken the body even more, because you are not actually facing what's right here in front of you. So what if we instead acknowledge, right, guys, that we need to move through we need to move through pain, oh, rather than around spiritual crisis. Okay, I think this what I was trying to say here is that we need to find a mechanism to acknowledge things through to acknowledge things that we need. Okay, to acknowledge what we need, or the need to move things, rather than go around them spiritually. Except that we are in a place we would rather not be. You know, sometimes when you sit, guys, you need to explain, which hasn't, I'm feeling weak, I'm feeling this, I don't want this. Acknowledging that I'm not okay, I need help, I need to be helped, is one mechanic. You know, sometimes, guys, accepting and acknowledging that I need help, and also seeking help. Accept that you don't want to be in this space because you are in a space where, or you are in a place that is dark and very painful. So you need to express in details how you feel. We need to explain in details how we feel sometimes. You know, sometimes you just need to say to people, I'm in this cold world, or I'm in this world of ice. It's dark and it's cold. And that cold is consuming me. I'm in a space and I'm in space and I'm drifting away from everything I once knew. Expressing yourself, and also expressing yourself to yourself. With this space that I'm at, I don't know it. It's unfamiliar to me. But I need change. The importance of affirmation, guys, and the importance of teaching yourself spiritually how to heal. Because the healing the body needs us to be healed spiritually first. So the inner landscape of spiritual crisis, guys, is powerful and individual. It's powerful and it's individual because as you orient yourself to where you are, you eventually will want to remember and articulate where you once okay, where you used to be before. So you would orient yourself to where you are, and you will eventually want to remember and articulate where you used to be. So now you're going to say, you know, I was this vibrant person, I was going out, I was socializing, I was doing this, I was doing that. But once the spiritual being says to you, or once you have moved away from this spiritual crisis of illness, or taking yourself or looking at yourself as a body, you will get yourself back to where you were before. So what gave you pleasure, meaning, and feeling of that things meant sense no longer exists. What gave you pleasure, everything, it no longer exists. As I said before, you cease to exist. So you need to make present like spiritual, you need to make present spiritual models, guys. We speak about spiritual models. um what gets you going, those are spiritual models. You need to derive meaning from something. That is what we call spiritual models. Hmm? Make present something that will uplift your spirit. Because when you have healed the spiritual crisis, the dark night of the soul that is in that dark cloud, when you have found mechanisms to heal yourself. So it can be a lot of things, guys. A lot of people find mechanism through a lot of things. Divine power of God, the ancestral spirits, being connected to oneself, nature, art, then you'll be fine. Then you will be fine. But you need to acknowledge that I need to move things through rather than go around the spiritual crisis. You cannot go around the spiritual crisis. Guys, a lot of times you'd find that we've got chronic illnesses that are not even uh, able to be detected by doctors. Not everything, guys, is as we see it. In most cases, you'd find that spiritually gifted people have um, illnesses or chronic illnesses that cannot be detected by um, doctors or professional medics. Then it's spiritual. Hence, I said before when I started that shamanism allows you to heal beyond the body itself, but you go through the spirit and you heal. So you don't heal from the outside, but you in from the physical to the spiritual, but you heal from the spiritual coming out. You heal from the inside out, and that's where a person gets healing, and that's where a person gets to understand themselves, because you need to take ownership of your own self in this body. The spirit, guys, I'm going to talk about alignment, and until somebody understand what I mean by alignment of the physical to the spiritual, we're all going to be fine. When everything is aligned like this, you can get sick, but this one will shine above. You can get, once the spirit has healed, guys, and you must also understand that you will find times where the spirit does get drained. The spirit, pain has a way of reoccurring uh, in your mind. Okay, if I may make it an example, like I lost a child. And in losing a child, you often think about it. It's an ongoing process. It feels like yesterday. The grief feels like yesterday. But for some reason, because there is this alignment between the spiritual and my physical, when my physical wants to feel drained and um, wants to feel this pain, the spiritual will say, "Udlulile lapho." And that is what I speak about when I speak about spiritual models. Once the physical wants to go back to the space of physical and the dark night of the soul, because the soul is no longer on the dark side, or the soul is no longer experiencing pain, ivele tudlulile lapho. That season has passed. And that is what we call the emotional roller coaster now, where 1 minute a tear might come out and then the next you all smiles. That is alignment. These things now work together, so one does not allow one to be drained. We need to work through spiritual crisis, guys. I went through pain. Losing my child, I went through pain. I didn't go around it. I had to feel it. I had to walk with it. Understand that I'm in that space of pain. When you go through, when you cannot go around hell, you have to go through hell, so you know your strength. And that is what chronic illness does to a person. I'm going to quote something that Viktor Frankl wrote, like, suffering ceases to be a suffering in some way of the moment. Okay, suffering ceases to be suffering uh, in some way of at a moment if you find a meaning in taking stock of our spiritual selves. Okay, in taking stock of our spiritual self, we seek to find meaning, and in finding meaning, we seek to transform our pain. So I explain it, guys. Ne? Suffering ceases to be suffering in some way at the moment if we find a meaning in taking stock of our spiritual selves. We seek to find meaning, and in seeking meaning, we seek to find transformation in pain. You know, once you have found meaning in oneself, you are going to transform pain. Once you understand who you are and take and acknowledge who you are, embrace who you are, you will transform the pain. In understanding that you come from a dimension where blood related illnesses are going to affect you, because you are not from this dimension of natural beings. You are going to transform from the pain. A lot of people would say, why do in most cases people with spiritual gifts have HIV or cancer? Tools that are used, we have been given the gift of spirit, something that is not unseen, and blood is seen. So in detecting blood, in using machines to detect blood, you are not going to you are going to detect other things if a person is spiritually gifted. Angazi noma niyanyizwa. Science may find many ways to explain things, but what science cannot do is explain spiritual things. We are not from this dimension, and yet we seek for earthly tools to detect who we are, and we are dependent on science to affirm to us, or to affirm to us that this is who we are. Or we depend on science to validate to us who we are. And yet we say we come from a spiritual dimension, or spirituality is a dimension. I hope, guys, really healing will start. Healing will start when you get to understand who you are, and you take ownership of who you are, and you rise up, and you seek for spiritual models that are going to take you out of that spiritual crisis. You can transform pain. You can transform in pain. And I can attest to that. You can transform in pain. Does not mean you are not going to feel it anymore, but it means you are going to overcome it, and you are going to triumph, and you are going to come victorious through that pain, because it is not meant to destroy you. As a spiritual gifted person, pain is not meant to destroy you, however, to lift you up, however, to give you lessons. You see, guys, if you don't get sick, you will lose yourself again, because you will go about doing anything. But one thing that I know with the spiritually gifted people and the people whom have been called to the divine higher power, or the higher divine power, however you want to put it, once you get sick, you mend your ways. We are strong. So that is the only way you, you will be able to understand purpose and meaning. Uyaziqoqa kwezinye izinto. You don't do as you please. And because kunalento ekushayile yakubuyisa. The dark night of the soul means buya, buyele ekhaya. Thank you so much, guys, and I hope you've enjoyed this video.